John, second year anniversary.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm
the terrible twos?
The terrible twos. Thank you for being here. I think we've had a great time, especially year two. No, I'm shocked. Our actual anniversary is Valentine's Day. But the way it works out, I think this comes out on the 12th. This will be the 12th. But happy second year anniversary. I think we've really tried to, and I think been successful in talking about aspects of Vegas that aren't overly talked about.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have been exposed to some great podcasts, Chris out there in LA, and there's a whole bunch more that they focus on the gambling, and they focus on the entertainment in general. Lots of gambling though. And having the experience that we have, I think I'm really glad that we kind of strayed away.
Yeah, well, we live here too, so I think that makes a difference.
That's true.
We look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, and I think it was probably fair for us not to, because I don't think either one of us could be considered a professional gambler.
Yeah,
every nickel makes my stomach hurt. So.
Yeah. Well, you really can't live here and be a gambler or really enjoy it.
No.
I think it's something that you just have to indulge in from now and then if you really like it, and then leave, get away from it, because it'll suck you down the hole.
Yeah. But as far as our fans are concerned and our listeners, I join them in applauding the fact that Las Vegas has so much more to offer. And some interesting aspects. I mean, everything, from its influence in politics and Washington, D.C. to ghost stories all around.
Yeah.
I have learned a lot. I would say very confidently, I knew probably 60% of what we spoke about, and the rest we researched, and it was just really cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say that one of the things I hope that, we accomplished here was, because we found in dealing with people, the guests that came here, that there was this, as we talked about, this disconnect between their expectations and what the place was really like.
Right.
That, they have all these great restaurants now in Las Vegas. Yeah, they do. But they're not cheap like the old Vegas was. Vegas where they gave things away, the lost leaders. Right. Yeah, they had the buffets and they had things that you waited in line a long time, but it was cheap. And the idea was to get you in the same thing with the shows. The idea of the shows was to get you into the hotel and where you would gamble and what have you. And then the marketing of that just kind of, it became incidental. So people came, and I think they were expecting the hotels to suck up to them and they didn't anymore. They just kind of said, well, hey, this is what we have. If you don't like it, tough.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I think the marketing of Vegas precursored the marketing, like, for example, in the mortgage industry. The banks no longer want, a lot of the major banks don't want the mortgages from everyday people. They want seven figures. They want a commitment to their bank. They want several accounts, and everybody else be damned. And that's kind of the way Vegas went for a while. I think they're realizing now that that's not necessarily the way to go, especially because the powers that be here in Las Vegas decided to do it matter-of-factly and a lot of times in spite of great concern from their base customers. The parking issue and the drinks issue and everything else. It was discouraging, and that's the last thing you want from a Las Vegas visitor is discouragement or disillusionment. And locals, we deal with it. We have people drop us off, we Uber, we Lyft, we do everything, and we avoid the charges. But it's very difficult. And so what happens to locals? We don't go.
Yeah.
What do you want? Right. Yeah, you want to go to Caesars for dinner? No, I don't. I have to park. I have to walk. I have to do this. And I think they're realizing that. But the specter, the giant black and silver cloud, that's coming.
That's coming.
Yes. With the Raiders, unfortunately, I think with that comes a whole new level of superiority and charges and things of that nature. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the Raiders are going to be a positive or a negative?
Ultimately, it'll be a negative. I just think because, again, it's what we're seeing is Las Vegas transforming from a destination to just another city. Mm-hmm. Oh, we have sports teams now, just like everybody else, and they're going to treat people like anywhere else. The only difference will be we've got all these world-class hotels or the big hotels, and we do have legalized gambling. You can bet on the games, where you maybe you can't do that everywhere,
Right.
and things like that. But other than that, I think it's going to lose a lot of its, in the quest for profit and market share or whatever, it's going to lose something, and I think it's unfortunate, but I think
I agree. And it was both fortunate and unfortunate that the Golden Knights, who I support absolutely, it's unfortunate they did so well year one.
Yeah.
Because the knee-jerk response, of course, is that, we're going to raise all the prices because they're fantastic and you're going to get this amazing experience. Well, now they're what was expected from an expansion team. They're okay. They're doing good. And all the guys, I applaud them. They're fantastic. But unfortunately, so many people, all they can afford is a T-shirt. They can't go to the games. And I hear so many people say, "Oh, I got a pair of tickets." Not I bought. I got a pair of tickets. I'm so excited. But it's so expensive, so expensive.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, we've talked about that. We've talked about my personal experience with my cousin. Dear God, just $5,000 to basically lease a seat that you haven't paid for the season yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting, also the corporatization of sports. Even going back to 2000, when I was a kid, but I remember going to Giants games, Candlestick. It cost $4.50 for a box seat. That was a good seat. $3.50 for a reserve seat, which was a little higher up in the stands, but still a reserve seat. If you wanted the bleachers, as they were called, they were $1. Right. They were $1. And the really expensive in the mezzanine, which had it had your own door with a key. Ooh. Yeah, it was $7.50.
Oh dear.
Now,
bread was 10 cents.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, gas was 75 cents a gallon. But when you think about it, well, okay, gas might be 4 or 5 times as much, but baseball tickets are significantly more than that. So when the Giants moved to AT&T, which was then AT&T Park, it's now changed. No, I take that back. It was Pac Bell originally.
Okay, yes.
It's now changed its name for the 4th time. It's now known as Oracle Park. But anyhow, when it was Pac Bell, and my parents had season tickets from Candlestick. Mm-hmm. They were offered the same tickets but you had to pay for the license $50,000. And it was really clear to me that what they wanted to do was they didn't want average, everyday baseball fans, family people to go to games. They wanted those great seats because they had basically front row right behind the dugout. They wanted those reserved for corporations and for people there to wine and dine their clients.
Yeah, and more power to them. But I think, unfortunately, that turns their back on their core fans. Yeah. And I think the core fans are more important. I really do. A marketing person, from a major sports team's corporate office would have probably volumes of arguments for me. Yeah. But when it comes right down to it, if you turn your back on your core fans, I believe that is going to be the beginning of your end. Yeah. And people are going to rise up and say no, because, the country is doing a little bit better, but it's nowhere near as good as certain administrations like to tell us. Yeah.
When you think about it also, I mean, the corporate seats, they only want the good seats anyway. Right. If you have a stadium that holds 40,000, 50,000, whatever, then you're talking about those choice seats. Maybe how many are there going to be? A couple thousand? Yeah. And everything else is going to be mediocre. I don't want my clients sitting up in the upper deck. Well, so that's going to have to go to the rank and file, and they're spending a hell of a lot more money because those people down there with the corporate clients, they're not drinking any more beer than they're probably drinking a lot less. Yeah, they're only eating the one hot dog. They're not eating 2 and 3, and and then getting drunk out in the bleachers. For sure.
But again, John, happy 2nd anniversary. Wow. We are dangerously close to the crossover that I've been talking about, probably the last 10 podcasts, to our second production of the Pod Bay Door Network. It's The Invisible Maybe.
The Invisible Maybe.
And we will have, it opens, up the door up to talk about so many other things. Not that Las Vegas isn't a fantastic subject. And it will continue to be so for us. But we are going to cross over to The Invisible Maybe for a little bit. And and gather up more information about Las Vegas so we can relaunch some new ones. But the Invisible Maybe, what we're going to do is we're going to cross it over with the Las Vegas version of the Pod Bay Door at a special location. Now, I'm still not going to tell you where that is, but very soon, a couple more episodes, I'll let you know. All I can tell you is that periodically there's either little green people or little gray people, depending on what you believe. And they have some fantastic little places out there. So hopefully, John and I will be on a remote podcast, and we'll introduce our crossover in the Invisible Maybe at that time.
Clark County Jail.
From the jail, from the federal jail, as we get picked up. But this episode, as I promised, we're going to talk food. I picked some, of course, from our alma mater, the Venetian.
Yeah.
Some new ones, some old ones, all of which I've either been to or worked at in my capacity as a photographer. And we're going to talk about different cuisine styles: Asian, steak, seafood, meat. John's favorite, meat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And fine dining. We're going to talk about the best locations for the food. Not necessarily the best food per se, but the best location. Best dive restaurants. We're going to talk a little bit about food trucks, and then we have a fan question way out from John's old haunt in Japan. But all right, let's get down to the Venetian's restaurants here. As John said, restaurants in Vegas have graduated to pretty much all being expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, John Travolta's $5 shakes are definitely out there and more.
Yeah.
But the Venetian has some spectacular restaurants, and we thought we'd talk a little bit about them, you know, to help you with your visit. First one that is near and dear to my heart because they're a client of mine and they're a fantastic bunch of people is Bouchon.
Yeah.
Chef Thomas Keller. John recently gifted me a wonderful thing, the master classes. If you guys ever get a chance, they're an online class with all the classic masters, Chef Keller,
Wolfgang Puck,
and that's just the food industry.
Yeah.
You know, Ron Howard, and so on and so forth.
Spike Lee has one.
Yeah, Spike
Jodie
Lee.
Foster.
Yeah.
Neil
so
Gaiman.
check that out, masterclass. But that being said, Chef Thomas Keller had a masterclass, and he's from Bouchon. Chef Keller, you might know him from the French Laundry, of course,
yes,
and
in Yountville.
In Yountville, yes, exactly.
Up in Napa County.
And he's got Bouchon bakeries here, of course, Los Angeles, New York. I've been there right there at 30 Rock. And it is Bouchon in the Venetian and it's actually the Palazzo Tower.
Yeah.
Is a light French. They call it a country French sometimes. I don't know if that's actually correct, but it's a light French. And they do a wonderful breakfast, they do a wonderful lunch, and a fantastic dinner. And if you're a wine connoisseur, they have a wonderful sommelier and cellar. And generally speaking, I would say you would be safe to plan about $100 a piece.
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah. Very creamy, very, very rich food, very savory. If you love cheese, they have a cheese plate that will, or if you love stinky cheese,
yeah,
they have one that will blow you away. It's fantastic. And of course, their desserts, because they're a bakery.
Yeah.
They actually have a secondary bakery location at the bottom near the guest elevators. Amazing. But and then
that was a great place to put it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Take it to your room.
You get out of the elevator from the room and there's the bakery. You can't. Yeah. It's amazing. But now I'll let you talk about this one. Canaletto.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah. I thought it would be. It had a good location.
Yeah.
Canaletto was more. It was part of the Il Fornaio group, which is good. It's not a top 5-star establishment, but it's good. It's certainly serviceable. I remember when they had the opening, they were kind enough to give us a free dinner there, and they gave me a free bottle of wine. Which hey, I can't take it with me, so that was a great way to spend your lunch hour on the job.
Right.
So yeah, my complaint with a place like Canaletto is because it has a really good location there at St. Mark's Square. It's noisy, and I don't know. It's just that it looks great and everything. it would be nice if they could turn down the sound.
Yes.
You know, it's noisy and it's
Now
it's bustling.
Canaletto both is relatively near the canal.
Yes.
And is also showcased within the St. Mark's, the facade of St. Mark's Square,
Yeah.
which, as John said, is enclosed and is like a being inside a drum.
Yeah. There's an echo there.
Yeah. But the food was good. Again, it's a light Italian. I would say I believe it's Northern Italian.
Yeah.
But it's not pretentious by any means.
Yeah.
It doesn't sport Michelin stars, and it's not have all the 5 diamonds.
Yeah, and it's probably more Americanized,
right?
Supposedly. So yeah, and it's fine. It's you won't be spending as much money.
Not at all.
Which is nice. I remember we would get corporate clients. They want to take somebody out. They had a budget. Where can you go? Canaletto was a safe choice because if it was going to be good, they would like it.
Right.
And they would have a nice dinner. It wouldn't break their per diem. Or it would just, it wasn't going to break it by much.
Right.
And there wasn't going to be anything unusual. So if somebody looks at, what the hell's this?
Right,
You never know who you're taking out, right?
Yeah. So Canaletto, great for experience, not great for noise, and the food is serviceable.
Yeah.
I love that term. The next one that near and dear to our hearts is used to be the taqueria or taqueria Cañonita. It is now just Cañonita.
Same ownership?
Same ownership, yeah. So yeah,
margaritas by the foot.
Margaritas by the foot, yes. And you can get the novelty yard margarita.
Yeah, please don't. I remember usually it was kind of like a thermometer. Thing that it was like a thermometer that as the drink went down, the rate of being obnoxious went up because there would be people down there calling me names, and they would be slurring their speech, and more often than not, they had a near empty yard margarita in their hand and calling me, hey, asshole.
Totally, yeah. They that's kind of like the blue light special for Kmart. that told us the bad guess. But the Cañonita, if you want sort of a cantina style. A little bit of Tex-Mex, but real basic. Any Mexican restaurant that you're used to in your own market, that's pretty much it. However, again, the Venetian is really known for its atmosphere.
Yeah.
So they have seating right next to the canal, so you can see the poor people going by with their little gondolier. You can hear some of the singing from the gondoliers if that's what you want, or if you would like silence, you can get a pretty quiet table, I think. But that's more of on the interior of the canal shops of the Venetian.
Yeah, that's kind of a cut above. It's a cut below the real restaurants, I think, and a cut above the food court.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of falls out no man's land there.
Right. Now the next one is actually a chain sponsored restaurant, the Grand Lux Cafe.
Yeah.
Which is everybody's favorite Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory. Yeah.
I was just there. They with a friend, and she and I had a lovely meal. It's a little dark. It's very romantic, but if you're not wanting romantic, don't take the business people there.
Yeah.
Giant portions, not quite a claim jumper, but it's a Cheesecake Factory style. Excellent food, excellent presentation, but is straight out American. And they have one of my favorites that I actually don't eat anymore, but it's a buffalo chicken spring rolls. Yes.
Yeah.
And
they had a huge menu.
Oh,
you
yes.
If you can't find something there that say, well, okay, I'll pick at this or whatever, then I don't know, because they had something for pretty much for everybody.
Yeah, they used to have, and I think they've discontinued it, but they had a chicken, a California chicken avocado sandwich on Indian fry bread.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And it was your calories for at least 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. But that's the type of food they have there at the Grand Lux Cafe. They also have a smaller version of it now in the canal shops. So they have actually 2 locations in the Venetian.
When I taught at College of Southern Nevada in the evenings a couple of years ago, I had a student who worked in the kitchen at one of the Cheesecake Factories. And without fail, every week, usually every other week, whatever, here come a nice piece of cheesecake.
Oh.
Here, teacher.
Nice.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, heart bombs. Oh my gosh, they're so good though. Yeah. So here's a couple, the Lavo and Tao.
Yeah.
Now, are they restaurants? What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess so. Tao, certainly.
Yeah. Tao, they tout themselves as being Asian fusion, as everybody it seems to do at some point in their career. Lavo is a very strange fusion. It's American, Italian, all kind of stuff there. But in my opinion, they're better as well. They love to call them. I think they still call themselves ultra lounges. Tao is still a really great place for the in crowd. Yeah. Generally speaking, they have a lot of celebrity sponsored events, whether the celebrity comes or not. If Kim Kardashian will have a party, she probably won't be there, but it's a Kim Kardashian party. So it's a really great place for crafted drinks and mixology and things of that nature. The restaurant, in my opinion, is just is an aside. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Tao, of course, is right at the exit, second floor of the Canal Shops, near the exit to Las Vegas Boulevard. Does not overlook the Strip. Everybody asks me that all the time. It does not. But it does have a pool. It does have a separate pool area that they sponsor, the Tao Pool. Lavo is this really interesting 2-level restaurant, ultra lounge, it's basically Lavo is wash your hands.
yeah, right.
If you're wondering what that stands for, it's essentially wash your hands. But a beautifully constructed restaurant, wonderful place to get a drink and maybe some like tapas style appetizers. But again, as restaurants go, really expensive.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, some of these restaurants like Tao and Lavo have replaced the quintessential show. Mm-hmm. Like you go to Las Vegas, it's like, oh, well, did you see Jubilee or Follies Bergère in the old days, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's you see or any of the Cirque du Soleil shows, right. And it's just like almost like, did you go to that restaurant? Mm-hmm. Did you go to Tao? Just because it doesn't matter if it was what you had there, you just had to have gone there. Yeah, I did. Right. What'd you have? I don't remember.
Right.
It was something. I don't know what it was. It was some kind of noodle.
Right. What do you think of noodles? You lived in the noodle place.
I
mean, was it available to you at all times? Noodles. You just go out and there were noodles. I mean, it was
in Japan.
In Japan.
Yeah. I mean, there were in the wintertime. It was great. They would have these what they call the yatai, which was basically a makeshift restaurant. It was somebody would downtown, everything was closed. Now I'm not talking Tokyo, I'm talking out in the suburbs.
Okay.
They would pitch a tent in the middle of winter, and it gets cold. I mean, it's see your breath cold. It's the temperature there is centigrade. It's getting down to 0, or it's near freezing.
Sure.
And people have been drinking. And, you're realizing I should really be cold right now. In fact, I am cold. I don't really feel anything. But anyhow, you would go into this tent and they would serve ramen. Mm. And the ramen was great, because you're there and everybody's freezing. It's not heated or anything.
Right.
In this tent. And the water came, you see the spigot right outside. That's where they got the water for the soup. And by the morning, it's gone because we would close the tent up and come back the next night.
Okay.
So those places, and they had yakitori, the chicken, pretty much available somewhere in the neighborhood at all times.
So rice noodle or flour noodle?
I think a flour noodle.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next one is I've not eaten there, but I was very pleased to work there briefly. And it's Mott 32. Mott 32 is new at the Venetian, generally speaking, and it is a high-end, fine dining Cantonese, Szechuan, and Beijing culture restaurant. That's how they tout themselves. What makes it really funny to me, a lot of these restaurants, part of their selling, their marketing aspects is they say free parking. Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
because it's free at the Venetian.
Yeah.
But Mott 32, typically small Asian restaurant. They're looking for a quality number of tables, but they also have larger tables for large parties because the thing that I always look for in an Asian restaurant, and it sounds terrible, but it's no different than when you look at a restaurant. Is it empty or is it full of people? Well, if an Asian restaurant is full of Asian people, I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's kind of a real big check mark for me. And when I was there, that was, I mean, it seemed very popular, and they were very traditionally Asian, and I think the restaurant is as well. However, I was told that most of their dishes are extremely hot, very spicy.
Yeah, it's that Szechuan style.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But if you like that, Mott 32 over at the Venetian looks fantastic. Morel's Steakhouse, not new. I mean, it's kind of jumped in there as far as popularity and power within the Venetian and the city because of Mario Batali's exit.
Yeah.
When Carnavino,
When he closed.
fell,
Yeah.
Morel's kind of jumped in there. Morel's, it's a Smith and Wollensky style. Peter Luger's. It's just a high end, aged meat. Not John and I's
Yes.
wheelhouse,
Yeah.
but very, very good. Now, here's one. Sushi Samba was there during our tenure.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
It's just a weird place.
Yeah.
Of course, it has sushi. Okay. There's a lot better, but and the samba part, which it's a mixture of sort of an Asian Brazilian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is kind of taken its place as a more of a grab a drink, grab a plate of sushi, and then kind of move on to the next place. But really well decorated. It's a beautiful restaurant. There's another steakhouse also at the Venetian because the Venetian is so large. You can have a steakhouse, multiple steakhouses, and never the twain shall meet. It's called Cut. And again, really good, aged meat. I don't know what separates it from Morel's or Morton's or everything else. Celebrity chefs aside, it's great food. Very, very expensive. I mean, you're looking at $1.50 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Per person.
Yeah.
Per person.
Yeah.
But
in the old days they would bankrupt you in the casino. At least you had a little more fun with it.
Yeah. And the one that kind of sticks out, and it's funny you mentioned about the noise of Canaletto, Yardbird. Now, Yardbird again is not this only one, but it's at the Venetian, and it is a sort of a savory fusion American farm to table kind of thing. What?
My printer.
Oh, we have electronics going off in here, but I have been there, and it's outstanding. It's outstanding. Now again, really loud because it's sort of an your all encompassing restaurant, open kitchen. Looks a lot like Gordon Ramsay's situation in most of his restaurants, but Yardbird is fantastic, and they have they specifically have a relatively large pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan selection, but generally speaking, they're known for lots of meat. So that's just some highlights of the Venetian. And as we progress forward with talking about restaurants, we'll kind of pick and choose the casinos and give you some recommendations where to go. Now, Asian restaurant, John, if you had to go right now, and they said, here's $200, where would you go?
Well, I mentioned last week that I like Lotus of Siam because I like Thai food.
Yeah.
So that would be my first choice.
Okay.
Local, if I could go somewhere.
Okay.
I also like the fact that I don't have to go on the Strip to go there.
That's true.
And
Lotus of Siam remind me of the cross street.
It's now on East Flamingo.
Okay.
It used to be over there on East Sahara in a strip mall, and there was a damage during a storm.
Yes.
And the roof collapsed, so they had to close it for several months.
And
then
not a very
reopened.
desirable area.
No, it really wasn't the best place.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it had been on East Sahara, and then they moved it over on East Flamingo.
Okay.
And my understanding is they were going to open the old one back up again.
Yeah.
Again, it's not real fancy, and at least the original one wasn't fancy on the inside, but it was known for its food.
Yeah.
The chef is in fact, it was one of the magazines. I think it was Bon Appetit.
Mm-hmm.
had said it was the best Thai restaurant in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a
when
statement.
back when we worked there, and everything hadn't changed,
Okay.
so they're the same.
So Lotus of Siam. Now, you've been to Thailand, yeah?
Yes.
Compared?
Yeah, I mean, what I remember if from some of the best places I went to Thailand, in my opinion, were these food stalls that were just run, by some woman with, yelling at her kids. And you would have the neighborhood stray dogs coming up to you begging, off the street. Those places were great.
And the gnarled up chicken feet.
Yes. And but there was a really good outdoor restaurant. In fact, at the time, now this was that I went there. This trip would have been in the late 80s, and it was at that time. It was they said it was the world's largest open air restaurant. And it was great. That was really good too. I had food there I hadn't tried before.
Okay.
That was Thai food.
So Lotus of Siam, what dish would you like?
Well, almost any of their curry dishes I think are great.
Oh, okay.
Also, they do a really good job with the sticky rice and mango for dessert.
Okay.
A lot of places, they have it. I don't know, but that one there is absolutely worth having.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a Vindaloo fan, or is that too hot for you?
Nothing's too hot for me.
Nothing's too hot for
No.
you. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we touched on this last episode, but or maybe the one before. Morimoto, I think.
Yes, Morimoto.
It's clean, and what I mean is it's cleanly presented, and it's the peak of freshness, and it's not too much food. And I think it's if you look at sushi and Asian cuisine from an artistic point of view. And there's several Netflix specials on sushi chefs. They're fantastic to watch. But it truly is an art form, and they really care about how that is coming out to you. Even if they have 50 presentations, they really care about each one. So that's it. I'm terrible. It's true sushi aficionados don't like this. I actually like the ones with cream cheese.
Yeah, well, I remember even things like what we call the California roll that has avocado.
Yes.
I know Japanese they'll grudgingly say, yeah, okay, they like it. But to them, it's kind of a shock because they don't have avocados in Japan unless they're imported. So it isn't something that they would normally have. And so this is like, well, it's kind of a bastardization of their, of their culture.
Okay.
But another thing, with Japan, it was interesting. I was reading this article. They're talking about people in Okinawa because Okinawans live they live among the longest of anybody in the world. And they're saying, well, their staple isn't rice, it's sweet potato, and they have a 10-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein. So they're have that, you protein, you keto people. But what they don't realize is that they have a saying in Okinawa, like they have it all throughout Japan, a custom, more or less, of eating, which is hara hachibu. Basically, eat until you're 80% full. Now, we have our own saying in the U.S., right? All you can eat.
Eat until you hear the crack of the plate.
That's right. It's basically, all you can eat buffet or whatever. Is it all you can eat? Or I'll have a large or supersize me. It's always that quantity there, it's just like, give me more. Well, when you're only eating, and that's why if you often go to Asian restaurants, you wasn't very much. Yes, you eat till you're 80% full.
And now, of course, the vernacular has changed. It's all you care to eat.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Now, it's interesting in the Philippines.
It's like one size fits most.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, it was interesting because I look at it language-wise, where we have it all-you-can-eat buffet. They have it eat all you can.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different. It's a little change on there.
A little competitive there.
Yes. And I started thinking about that as a linguist.
I got it. All right. So steak, steak's a tough one because, of course, you and I have sworn that off, at least currently. But I have to say, I have to laud the efforts of Anthony's over at the M. And one of their big check marks to me is exactly what you have spoke about in this episode, is quiet. I like a quiet dining experience. I definitely don't like community tables, which is really big now. I want my guest or guests to be able to hear me and speak and enjoy their dining experience and be able to, digest their food, some lovely music, way in the background. And Anthony's offers that, but also at the M Resort, which is the furthest south you can go. It has not worked for them, unfortunately. They tried it. It's too far for most people. Locals, it was too expensive. They fell into this weird category. But it is a beautiful place, great place to eat, beautiful views of looking at the strip from all the way south, all the way north. And I highly recommend it. And as far as steak and American food, they do a great job.
And we've even mentioned before, even though I just slammed the buffets,
Yeah.
they have probably the best buffet, I think.
I
It's the
agree.
one that I go to. However, I will
agree.
say I did go, they started serving a breakfast buffet on Sundays.
Yes.
I don't recommend that one. At $25, it's a good $12 buffet, but for $25, I mean, breakfast food tends not to be over the top. It's only about half the size of the one in the evening. But again, they say, hey, it's unlimited beer and wine. I really don't want to drink beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. Sorry.
Or the specter of crab legs. Crab legs.
Yeah.
I don't know what people's penchant is for that.
Yeah.
But that usually jacks it up like $10.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and that's that. Yeah, it's only open 9 to 11.
Yeah.
On Sunday morning. So the only people that are there, unless they're staying in the hotel and they stayed up all night, they're not going to be drinking beer and wine. They're going to be, locals that happen to be up at that hour. And they're going to be wanting
haven't
coffee.
gone to bed,
Yes,
yeah.
right. We
Yeah.
want coffee. I don't want beer and wine or mimosas or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So that's where they jack the price up.
Yeah.
The food itself is good. But
Yeah, but I totally agree. So if you want to get rid of the crowds and the music and the noise and the yard margarita guys, get an Uber, go out to the M.
Even a little bit off strip. I was thinking of Lowry's. It's unusual.
It is, and it's a lovely, sort of a 40s style,
Yeah,
possibly 30s.
if you like prime rib. But I used to go there as again pescatarian. They would have Australian lobster tail
And salmon.
and they
have
had
a salmon
salmon. They have a very
presentation,
nice salmon.
And
so.
they have an outstanding
salad.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You have to make special reservations.
Yeah.
It is not high end, but it's a lovely experience.
Yeah.
Always. Lowry's, and that's over in the Howard Hughes Center.
Right.
But yeah, totally. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So seafood. You're gonna laugh at these two, John. Joe's stone crab.
Yeah.
I ate there with our friend Fred.
Yes,
and
I've been there
and-
myself
yes.
too. Yeah.
It is a kick in the nuts when you get the bill,
Yeah.
but they do a fantastic job. Now they a la carte you to death like most steakhouses, but it's really good, really good. A little hard to find. It's on the ass end of the Forum shops at Caesars,
Yeah.
and then drop down the escalator there. But I do recommend it. If you can expense it, get somebody else to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, you're gonna laugh, but Gordon Ramsay's fish and chips.
Oh, okay.
I had a great time, and it is the opposite of what I generally like. It's really loud. It's very Gordon Ramsay. It's abrupt, and the people are the service is brusque. They're not there to entertain you.
Yeah.
They're there to
Get you in and out.
slam those plates in and
Yeah.
out. Exactly. But Gordon Ramsay's fish and chips. How about you? Where do you go for seafood? Where do you go?
There used to be a really good place. I don't think it's there anymore. In the Wynn. It was expensive, really expensive, but
Okay.
it was really good. But again, sometimes we would get people come to the desk and say, "Well, you're close to the ocean. I imagine the seafood's good." I said, "What do you mean we're 300 miles, for Christ's sake?"
Exactly.
Granted, if you're from the Midwest and you come here, we're closer than where you are in the Midwest, but we're not on the ocean.
Right.
So we're in the desert,
Right.
and we still have to have stuff flown in.
Right.
Emerald's Fish House over at the MGM.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you like that style,
Yeah.
it also gives you the opportunity to have his classic banana cream pie while you're there.
Oh, that's true.
Yes,
That's true. I was always sad about Emerald. Now brilliant move. I mean, he sold himself.
Yeah,
Literally, he sold his name, his brand, and everything else. Obviously, he can use his own name, but he sold it, and they started doing frozen foods in the grocery store,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, but more power to him. I would have done it too. I'll take the 7-figure.
and he
payout.
gained about 50 pounds. I guess maybe he was eating all the stuff he was demonstrating on his old cooking show.
Yeah, I saw a poster of him actually in the Venetian of all things, and you're absolutely right. Terrible. And being a photographer, especially in the commercial area, it was a marketing poster, and it was him with his thumb up, I think.
Yeah,
And you're right. It was a unflattering photograph,
Yeah.
and it was so much of him that you had no idea what wares they were hawking. It was just a giant emerald there.
yeah.
So if you're going to the elevator from the Venetian, go and you're walking to this long hallway, look at that poster and tell me if you agree.
Yeah,
Terrible
yeah,
picture.
yeah.
Terrible
I've
picture.
seen him before there. But I haven't been to his places in a while, so I don't know if they've gone down or if because they had the Emeralds, they had the Delmonico Steakhouse, the Venetian.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But quickly, because John and I, again, we're not a big meat guys, but Bizarre Meats by Jose Andres.
Yeah.
If you like charcuterie and interesting meats and meats that have been really well presented, great place to go. But if you're not a meat guy, oh man, it's like kind of like Texas de Brazil or Tejas de Brazil.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just meat, meat sweats and meat, pass out and meat. But it's not bizarre meats. A lot of people ask me that. It's bazaar, like in Marrakesh, bazaar,
Yeah.
Bazaar. But try that out. It's if you want a truly unique experience, I would definitely recommend that. I think, but you will have your fill. And if you're coming off of veganism or vegetarianism, don't go there first.
No, you'll be dead.
Yeah, you'll be on your knees.
Yeah, and if you want something really, exotic or unusual that you're not going to get in most places, there's always a lodge out at Mount Charles, right?
Right.
Or a rattlesnake or whatever else they had.
And
Yeah.
venison, most of which I've had.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Now, fine dining, there's one I have been to. I have worked near. I've worked with the staff there. Guy Savoy at Caesars. It is the classic fine dining experience. I mean, where all the only noise you hear is the rare clink of glasses. It is truly a dining coursed experience. Great location in Caesar's Palace, but Guy Savoy, and possibly Sage at Aria, a good step down from Savoy, but I would recommend either as far as fine dining, especially if you're with your significant other. Yeah, definitely recommend that.
Also off the strip, there's Todd's Unique Dining. He had a restaurant. He on the strip closed it, I think, or he left. And anyhow, he opened one on Sunset in Henderson.
Okay,
it's been there about now. God, it must be there 10, 15 years.
Todd, his last name's escaping me.
Clore,
Okay,
Clore. I think. I'm not sure if he pronounces the E or not.
I will look that up for us.
Yeah.
But as I'm doing so, we did a list of best location restaurants.
Yeah.
Now, I did two. I thought of two. Top of the World over at the Stratosphere.
Oh, it's the Strat now.
Yeah.
They officially changed the name. Did you see that on the Super Bowl? I don't know if it was only locally shown.
Oh, I didn't.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
keep talking. I'm going to find out what Todd's last name is.
They did.
What's
had
the name of the restaurant?
Todd's Unique Dining.
Todd's Unique Dining.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did there was an advertisement. It was a commercial during the Super Bowl last week.
Okay.
And it showed the Stratosphere. And it showed, there was a film of the castaways and some of the implosions. It says you don't have to tear down a legendary monument or whatever to just rebranding it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I really don't think that the Stratosphere has been there long enough to have obtained that sort of legendary status. Granted, it's so tall, everybody sees it. But anyhow, they're now known as, officially, they've changed their name from the Stratosphere to the Strat, which is, the locals, if you work there, that's what they call it, right? They call it, the people who worked at the Stratosphere, where do you work? I work at the Strat.
It certainly wasn't a stretch of the marketing department.
Yeah. So all they had to do was chop some letters off the sign. But yes, absolutely, the top of the world. And they've opened new restaurants up there, but that's a great view up there.
Clore or Clore, or Clore, I'm not quite sure. But Todd's Unique Restaurant.
Yeah,
I'll be damned. All right. The other one is actually, I think, a favorite of almost everybody I know, Mon Ami Gabi.
Yes. At the Paris. Yes, it's great.
Right in front of the Paris, right on the well, depending if you're looking at it, on the right side of the Eiffel Tower legs. It is at minimum a great place to watch Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yes.
Yeah. And they have outstanding steak sandwiches. That's what I always get there. Steak sandwich. Or used to. But now, you've been there? Have you been there recently?
Not recently.
No. And what dining experience did you have at Mon Ami Gabi? Do you remember what you had?
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
I have a bad memory for things like that. I remember being there. I can tell you, almost go right back to the table.
Yeah.
But in terms of the food, I don't remember what I had. But it was okay. I mean, otherwise, it was. But again, it was that view. Maybe that was overwhelmed me from the.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and you can see the Bellagio fountains. You can see all the irritating, awful crowds.
Yes.
And you can see the now entertainers. Dirty Pikachu's and everybody.
And Drunk Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons and Bumblebee.
And the guy from The Hangover walks around with the
Zach
baby.
Galifianakis with the plastic baby.
Yeah.
Let's see who did I see recently?
Batman.
Spider-Man, that's a popular one, and terrible costumes. A Wonder Woman, there was a Wonder Woman Aquaman combo.
Oh.
No good, never no good. And Showgirls Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see all of this from perched just slightly above everything. So if you want a people-watching spot,
that's
good
it.
food, easier on the wallets, Mon Ami Gabi over at the Paris. Now, best dive restaurants. Now you're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
Maybe you will. Batista's Hole in the Wall.
Oh yeah, around the corner. Oh, yeah.
On Audrey.
Our colleague Fred hated that place.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Fred, our colleague Fred, who is very much Italian.
Yes.
And he hated that place. I don't know if it was because
they had the rock gut wine on the table.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Hey, that's nice. Who cares? Wine.
It is in the style of a Buca di Beppo. Yes. If you want to see and eat more food than you can ever imagine, but it's the hole in the wall. It's actually called the Hole in the Wall.
Yeah.
And it's near the Paris Hotel on a road called Audrey.
Yeah.
Now it's surrounded by construction, which is behind,
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard to. It's always been kind of hard to find. You had to kind of know where it's at.
Don't drive there. Either walk there from the Paris Hotel or take an Uber or Lyft. But Batista's Hole in the Wall, it is truly this little dive restaurant. And then of course the entire place is a dive. I don't care if they've had all this new construction. Ellis Island.
Oh yeah.
Ellis Island was the place to go for after midnight discount food, discount breakfasts, graveyard specials, horrendous karaoke.
Yeah.
Horrendous. And they have the weirdest karaoke choices on the planet. They had a guy there. I don't know how you think that you can karaoke this, but he was karaokeing Rockefeller Skank by Fatboy Slim.
Oh.
And there's basically only about 3 words in it.
Yeah.
And it was hysterical. But karaoke, discount food, they used to have one of the most notable prime rib specials. It was the Lost Leader prime rib, a slab bigger than your face. And it was tasty. It was baked potato, and it was just, if you didn't have heart disease, you had it after. But it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But Ellis Island, I don't know if they've gotten a little. I'm worried because I heard on another podcast and from other people that they're starting to get like the attract hipsters.
Oh,
we don't want that.
No, we don't want that.
We can't have dives and hipsters.
You have to have a couple of dives left.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, or Sand Dollar. Sand Dollar. The
Sand Dollar.
Yeah,
right,
Sand Dollar. Not really a restaurant, but if you want to go and feel a little nervous, but if you love blues music and love just drinking your fill, look for the Sand Dollar. Okay, food trucks. We're wrapping this up, John.
All right.
Food trucks. Now, having a food truck. I don't know if food trucks are in or out now. I don't know. What do you think? Have the hipsters killed them?
I think the hipsters have killed them. Yeah. I haven't seen one in a long time. I mean, I know they're out there, but
They're very difficult to get in Las Vegas.
Yes,
Vegas. They don't support food trucks. Not really. But there are some here. They've gone through this raft of paperwork and gone through all the licensing, and I think it's because of the power of the Strip.
Yes,
they don't want these little food trucks. There's a couple that I have photographed for another situation. I wasn't working for the truck. I was working for something else. And they were interesting. There was one called the Lit Grill, and it's a play on the current, vernacular of those wacky kids and their rock and roll music. It's lit. But actually it's meaning it's the whole truck is lit up. And it's sort of a Mexican street taco thing. Looked fantastic. They had those wonderful looking, and it was packed. Now, again, food truck, lots of people, Sounds pretty good to me. So I was told from a food truck guy that if you can look at the food and see a lot of people, then that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So lit grill, the gold box. Again, the whole truck was gold, and this was Cajun tacos.
Interesting.
Yeah. But seafood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
seafood,
you go.
Landlocked Vegas, they have seafood. But it was called the Gold Box, and again, their presentation was small, tapas style, very reasonably priced. I mean, you're talking $5 for like 3 street tacos. This is great. And lastly, for everything that is bad for you, name a food and fry it. It's Sticky Iggy's. And all these trucks were here where I was, and I was photographing this strange event, and they were all there. But they look fantastic. But the food trucks in Vegas, the best way to try to find a food truck situation is social networking.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Always.
You gotta have to.
Yeah, just put food truck into Facebook and you'll see all of ours. But otherwise, there isn't one location. It used to be the Container Park.
Yeah, they used to go downtown.
Yeah, but the Container Park, honestly, it sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's just it's not good right now. I don't know if it's ever been good, but and I apologize to the people that are struggling there. But
it's like a ghost town.
Yeah, you didn't have support. You didn't have any support. But all right, we have one question from Twitter.
All right.
From Japan.
Oh, good.
Toki.
All right.
Toki. Toki.
Toki.
Right. Yeah. And we think it's a male.
Yeah.
We think he's a male. Coming in, I'm going to read it exactly as it came off Twitter. Coming in from Japan family is Toka. It should be Yoda Toki. Yeah. Coming in from Japan family is pescatarian easy in Las Vegas?
I would say very easy compared to Japan. It was when I went to Japan in the 80s, when I first went there, and I was there from 1984 to 99. So I was there for 15 years. I didn't eat meat. And I thought, oh, great, I'm going to Japan, right? They eat a lot of fish. That's fine. But I found that a lot of places, unless it was like a Japanese restaurant, it was difficult to find something that didn't have meat in it. It was much easier to find something here.
Right.
So they had a chain of restaurants over there. It was Italian. I put that in air quotes, Italian. Basically, they had some pizza and spaghetti, lasagna sorts of things called Caesarea. Could not for the life of me find something that didn't have meat in it. So they had a seafood pizza. And okay, I'll order the seafood pizza. It had ham on it. Since when do pigs swim in the ocean, right? So I had to peel it off. But here, because there are so many tastes, particularly now, you're pretty easy to find things. I never had any trouble at a restaurant here. Even going to a place, again, if you're willing to eat seafood, you can go to a steakhouse. Like I said, we mentioned Lowry's. They have salmon and they have the lobster tail.
Yes.
Almost every steakhouse is going to have something. Even it's going to have something a fish dish. It might be a token one. It might be just. Even I remember one time on a business trip, I was stuck. I had to go to the Outback Steakhouse. Right. Oh, what am I going to have at the Outback?
Yeah, had to.
Yeah, I had to go there. But it was next door to the place we were staying. So I go in there. Well, I could order a salad. And then I ordered a side order of a seared tuna.
They have a tilapia that's actually pretty good,
right?
although I'm always attacked for saying that because the garbage fish. Well, it's a fish. I mean, it's not meat.
Yeah. So I had if I wanted protein source, and there was the ahi tuna, the grilled tuna. And there I have it. So I think it's pretty easy. Yeah. In that regard.
All right. Well, one of the things that the Invisible Maybe is going to allow John and I to do is we're going to have guests that can come on and talk about a variety of things, not limited by the city of Las Vegas. One of which is an episode that's going to be dedicated to diet, and we'll be talking to a dietitian and talking about the differences between all of the isms. But what would you say, John, is the essential difference between the vegetarian, the vegan, and the pescatarian? I mean, is it? Well, let's do pescatarian and vegetarian, because that's always one that, like you said early on in the show, people think eating fish is vegetarian, and by definition, it's not.
No, it's not. I think really you have to look at the finer. There's something called lacto-vegetarian, which means that they don't eat flesh, but they'll drink milk or cheese, which comes from an animal, but it's not the animal.
Mm-hmm.
So, when that would kind of describe what I was if I didn't eat fish.
Yeah.
Was because I didn't mind cheese. I'd eat that or eggs or something like that.
Right.
But I'm not eating animal flesh.
Okay.
So there are varieties of vegetarianism. There's the stricter ones, then the vegans won't eat anything that's an animal product, which would include they won't eat honey.
Mm-hmm.
Because honey is basically exploiting the labor of the bees, right? I mean,
Sure.
It's not from the bee, it's not part of the bee, but
Yes. Because I don't know if we're concerned about the bee labor.
yes, right. But anyhow, so
yeah.
that would be a difference. I don't think a vegetarian would have any problem with that. And and as far as I know, they'll both eat animal crackers.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, again, John and I want to thank all of our fans, all of our listeners, both new and old. It has been a very fun 2 years talking about Las Vegas and Nevada and everything in between. We appreciate everyone's listenership so much, and we love connecting with you guys, and we love connecting with you on social media and the podcasting formats, of which you can find the Pod Bay Door, the Las Vegas version of it, almost everywhere. So any format that you prefer, you can find us there. But thank you so much for your listenership. Please tune in. We're on episode, this is 95. But in the next 5 episodes, we're going to tell you what the crossover is going to be, what the special episode is going to be. Our special episode, of course, is going to be episode 100. And then after which we are going to concentrate on the invisible maybe and talk to people on all different types of subjects. So we hope you can join us for that as well. But for John, this is Jamey, and thank you again for 2 years of fun and Las Vegas. We will see you next week. Thanks to everyone listening and watching. You can catch the Pod Bay Door on the Podbean app or any of your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, and Stitcher Radio. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel at the Pod Bay Door Podcast. Please download, like, and subscribe. Our social connectivity screen is coming up. Check in with us on Facebook, Twitter, and WordPress. The Pod Bay Door is closed and talent is out. Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the show. We would love to hear your show suggestions and comments. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, please click to subscribe. You can also connect with us on Facebook using @PBD Podcast, on Twitter using @TPBD Podcast, and on WordPress at thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com.